Welcome everybody to the EUCF 2022 here in Caorle, Italy. We're at pool play in the mixed division. Disconnection from Freiburg in Germany, Catchup from Austria. And these are both champions of their respective nations. Freiburg winning the German National Championship, Catchup from Graz winning the Austrian National Championship here in this matchup here at the European Ultimate Championship Finals. I am Ravi Vasudevan, joined here by Benjamin Reese. Benji, how are you feeling today, and what can you tell me about this game?
I'm pretty good. We've managed to stave off the bugs for long enough to get the game on, which is good. Also, no lightning so far today.
Why would you say that?
Because I've said it every other game, and so far we've still had no lightning. So I am invincible. It should be a good game, I think. Catchup had slightly varying fortunes in both their games so far. Came out on the losing side in both of them, but yesterday, not quite at full strength, missing a number of players, went down 15-7 to leftovers. But earlier today, played Smog, one of the favourites coming into the weekend, only to lose 15-14 on Universe, a loss that has to sting. Disconnection, it's been relatively comfortable so far. A 12-1 victory over Gold. That was called due to the lightning yesterday evening, but that game was pretty much done and dusted by that point. And yeah, a good 15-10 win over Deep Space this morning for them. So it looks like they are, honestly, they're looking like one of the hot informed teams here.
Can you tell us a bit about the format and what are the implications of this game? What happens, what's going on in the mixed division here at UCF?
So there are 12 teams. It goes into 2 pools of 6. The top 2 teams in each pool go to the semis and then the final. The middle 2 teams go into the middle semis and the bottom 2 teams go into the bottom semis, essentially. So no crossovers. If one pool is stronger than the other, well, that's kind of just a little bit tough luck, I guess. You've got to do better at regionals and get yourself those best positions possible. For Disconnection, of course, with those 2 wins, they're currently sitting top of the pool. A win here would all but guarantee their place in the semi-finals. And for Catchup, while, you know, the semi-finals are still possible with a win, they kind of would be relying on a little bit of help from elsewhere. But if they lose here, yeah, then their title ambitions are over for this year. Although coming into this tournament, they said that they're not necessarily so focused on that. They just want to enjoy themselves and come inside the top 10. And given that there's 12 teams here, I think they stand a pretty good chance of that.
Filling in the rest of this pool are the leftovers from, I always forget if they're from Slovakia or from
Brno in the east of the Czech Republic.
Czech Republic, yeah, I always mix that up because I had a Slovakian friend who played for that team, so I was always confused because he is Slovak but plays for the Czech team. Deep Space from London, Smog from the UK as well, and Gold from Belgium. So as you said, this is kind of the top and the bottom of the pools as the rankings look right now based on point diff and record. So we'll see if Catchup can shock Disconnection, but as it stands right now, I would say Disconnection are the favorites.
Yeah, I think they'd have to be for those 2 big wins against, you know, sides who had different expectations coming into the weekend, it has to be said. But still winning, getting those comfortable wins is, yeah, it boosts your confidence. You've had enough of a test, I think, to really kind of get fit and firing, and we were warned that the deep game of Disconnection is something to watch out for, especially getting their female receivers streaking deep. They're so tough to keep up to.
Both these teams played at the World Championships earlier this year. Disconnection coming in 14th place, while Catchup coming in 33rd. So both had a campaign that was maybe the season a bit more about that than this at the moment. But Disconnection still looking like a very strong team. There's some very good players out there. We see the likes of Oliver Young, who used to play on that Colorado team back when they were a top program. Philip Haas, another really strong, famous player. So let's see what we're going to see here. Freiburg is in the dark shirts, and Catchup Graz is in the white shirts, and Freiburg Disconnection will start on offense.
Yeah, Young is going to bring it in from the big mark with that pool just tailing out of bounds on the far sideline. I'm just going to see how they're setting up offensively. Looking like split stacks potentially down each sideline.
Yeah, very spread out offense. As Young gets things started, you can see the flies there buzzing on the camera.
Just something else you have to
nice swing pass, and immediately a huck into the end zone, cross-gendered, and that's a great takedown from Emily Shields for Disconnection to start things off.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there slightly. Yeah, we did say before the game, watch out to the deep cuts for their female receivers, and well-timed cut, throw put out nice into space. Shields does all the hard work early on and can just run that down. Disconnection, again, as we mentioned, looking like a team in form.
That was just a pull play that went exactly as they wrote it up. You can see the first initiation cut, thrown from Ollie Young onto the sideline, and then there's an immediate, you see this first cut, he just turned an immediate continuation, no hesitation, all the way there. Just 2-pass offense. You can't ask for much more in the opening point of a game.
Yeah, people who have watched various ULTI.TV streams over the years will know that we have frequently stressed the importance of preparing for the pulls, both when you're pulling and also on offense as well, because this is the one thing you know will happen every point, is that someone's going to pull and someone's going to receive the pull. So getting those pull plays drawn up, getting people to chase down the pull, going for a variety of different pulling options, the sideline traps, those kind of slightly more hanging pulls. If you can do that, you set your team up to such a big advantage at the start of every single point.
Speaking of pulling, that was Joanna Erdmann with the pull for Catchup. For Freiburg, as Catchup get things going now. This is Sven Kleinappel with a huck to female receiver of his own. But that one's not going to quite land in the hands of the Catchup receiver.
Yeah, just a bit too far out for Vuti, I think.
So now here we have Arne Gross with the disc. Swings it around. Nice continuation cut there from Hambrecht. Haag surveys the options, goes for the deep huck. That's going to be easily eaten up by Catchup. They now come back the other way.
Yeah, floated up there too much, and with the defender already waiting there, just get the position nice and early and never really challenged.
So now Kleinappel goes for another huck, the second one. This one does work out. Oh, sorry, it does not. It's defended well by Disconnection.
Yeah, Gross bringing that one down for the Germans and now trying to run their offense after the turn.
Immediately goes to the huck deep. 2 Freiburg defenders underneath it, but that one just sails outside of the reach of Charlotte Hosbach.
I feel like we've got an idea of what the game plan is here for Disconnection.
Yeah, both teams seem to be shooting quite early here. And the Catchup coaches did talk to us earlier before the game, saying that they were trying to calm down their deep options, but so far two throws into this offensive point. I wouldn't say they're exactly following that playbook so far.
Not yet. It's not quite the full roster they had out in Cincinnati earlier this year, and I think that's partly why they're changing the system with maybe not quite the same number and the same type of players available.
There, Daniela Settina just couldn't find the right option and tries to go for that inside cheeky pass. Doesn't work out. Freiburg now with a very short field to work with. That's Joanna Erdmann with the disc in hand, looking for an option. Eventually swings it out to Hosbach. Hosbach goes for the end zone, and that one's nicely defended by Catchup.
Just a little bit behind and offline.
We'll see if Catchup can clean up their offense a little bit here. They've struggled so far at this point. That one high, but still well collected.
Brilliant
now on the sideline. Nice inside pass from the Catchup handlers. That one just collected there by Breitenhadler. Breitenhadler goes for the huck, and that one's going to work out as Catchup do get themselves on the board. It was a dirty hold, but it was a hold nonetheless as Yannick Hildebracht pulls in the point for Catchup.
I think the reason that we finally saw the player free in the end zone there was because Gross came in to try and get the block. Saw, okay, I can poach off here, I can get a hand in there, but he was beaten to it. And it's always the risk-reward when you go for that type of play, because you saw that if you don't get it, you know, your team has to adapt and you are potentially leaving someone wide open. Good job there by Hildebrandt to realize that, you know, he was left free. And by the time Haag could go and recover, well, it was already too late.
It's a very nice throw there from Breitenhaller. Much better stuff on the deep shot there, both in terms of execution, in terms of planning, in terms of everything. Catchup finally get themselves on. It was a little struggle for the Austrians, but they do manage to hold it. Now the pull goes up from Catchup back to Freiburg, who last time scored in 2 passes last time their offensive line was out here. We'll see. They've already done the first centering pass over to Miriam Forster.
Boring. Just kind of, given the way every other point's gone so far, kind of feel that you're waiting for the deep huck to come.
As you say that, Turk looks deep right away. Finds Rumpelt. Rumpelt centers the pass back into Oh, just a little bit of an overthrow as Catchup get themselves a chance for a break here. But immediately thrown back, and Daniel Turk cleans it up. Turk, a very tall player. Don't know how the Catchup handler did not see him there. Now he goes up line. Turk back with the disc in hand. Looks to get it off the line, and he does. Ollie Young. Nice inside pass. Well collected by Shields. And Shields with easy continuation there. And that's another score for Disconnection.
Love that inside. That really carved open the catch-up defense. You can see him, he's getting a little bit forward on the mark when he's got the disc in his hands there. So he can try and create that angle to get it past and create that inside channel. The throw was absolute perfection.
Here's going to see the inside shot from Young, which opens all that up to Shields. Great shot is right there. And at that point, you just see that the defender turns the back. And once that, you're just in trouble there in the end zone.
Yeah, looks frustrated that maybe thought a bit more, maybe help from his teammates or from the sideline, a bit more communication. But one-on-one, it's always so hard to defend because you're trying to get in the position where you can see both the player you're marking and the disc. And if you take your eyes off either for a second, it can be so devastating.
We are playing here with the mixed gender rule ABBA. So we just played 2 points of 4 women. Now we're playing a point of 4 male matching players.
Yeah, also using the prescribed puller rule here. So whichever gender is dominant numerically on the pitch will also pull, which is why we saw Phil Haas pulling for Freiburg.
Kleinpool collects the centers things. Catchup now looking into their vertical stack, not seeing any options, going for the reset.
Yeah, pick downfield is just going to give a temporary halt to proceedings. Those players at the front of the stack are very close together, and I think that's why you're inevitably seeing those little rubs occur.
Deep shot there, but not taken. No around break. We see Catchup really struggling here to get themselves upfield, but still managing to keep things clean with their restart. Nice inside high release backhand break. Then a great high pass. 2 receivers there and collected. That is Nina Pansy for Catchup as they score their second hold of the game.
We've seen that Sven Kleinhappel really has a license to put it. He's not afraid to do so, and that time, absolutely the right option. 2 players there. What I like was they got the communication in nice and early, so there's no yes, no, will we, won't we? And you get those horrible drops where either of you could have caught it, but there's just the indecision. Now they got it out there nice and early. Who was going to bring the disc in? And yeah, no problems on the receiving end. For that one, got so much space on this side. Plenty of time to just sit and float this throw up.
Good communication also to make sure that Jakob Lienart does not get in the way of that. I think that was the better angle. Nina Pansy had the better angle on that disc, so didn't force it with the other receiver. Got it to the intentional target.
And that's much better offense from the Austrians after a slightly claggy first point for them.
So a set of holds here, still no breaks. And here we're going to see Christoph Schitter for Catchup mixed with the pull, as Freiburg look to have another clean offensive point. I think both teams with 1 clean hold and 1 dirty hold each at the moment. As Freiburg immediately lash it deep again. This one's going to float for a long time. Shields is there, but she can't make up the distance.
When it went up, I thought it's definitely too far. And then there was a moment I thought, oh, Shields is going to get this. And then she just couldn't quite track it down. But again, you can tell what the plan is. Get these quick women isolated downfield.
Catchup on the other side, throwing it deep to Felix Mesner. And that one works. Mesner picks it up. Now with a short field to work with. Back to Mesner. Nice wide open give-go cut. Great play from Catchup, as that is the first break of the game for the Austrians.
Well, we said that they need to run the table to find their way into the semi-finals, and there's a long way to go, but that's a good start. Getting the game's first break, just the overthrow on that deep look, and then Catchup went deep themselves, judged it perfectly, and then playing it calmly outside the end zone, not rushing it too much, sending the throw to space for the goal. Catchup taking a 3-2 lead.
I really like this give-and-go play between Magdalena Kreintz and Felix Mesner. You see when you have just a 2-on-2 matchup with that chemistry, it's really hard to stop if you just keep that disc moving, and they do just that. It's just like a game of mini out there. You see first here is the huck from Skitzer to Mesner. Very nice weighted throw. Mesner reads it perfectly. You see that there might be some defensive pressure on it, but he positions his body, takes it, realizes nothing upfield, isn't afraid to go backwards with it. But I love that, look, this immediate return pass. This is really good stuff. And then when she makes that return pass, using that give-and-go momentum, great stuff from Kreintz.
Yeah, gets the upline space, beats Förster there. And that means that with the defender on the back shoulder, you've got plenty of time to just sit that one out into space. You don't really have to worry about the defender trying to claw their way around as much.
So now we'll see how can Disconnection respond after getting broken first. Again, coming out of their side stack. Turk again. The nice upfield pass. We've got Forster with it in the middle. Great quick movement from Freiberg. Forster with the disc again. That's Ollie Young. Nice around break from Young to Shields. Shields just on the doorstep. And with a nice lefty inside pass to number 29, Sophie Rumpels for the score.
That's much better from Disconnection there. Felt like previous points I don't want to say that they went away from what they like to do, because that's not what was happening. They were still, they're still hucking it deep. They just didn't get it to work out. But it's always good if your offense can be multi-dimensional. You don't always have to do the same thing. It makes the defense be a lot more quote-unquote honest. By the way, just about sneaks that one under the foot of the mark. And then simple pop-in from Shields for the goal.
The two strongest weapons I've seen so far from Disconnection are their hucking game to their female receivers, especially Shields, and then Ollie Young using break throws to break things open when they're closer to the end zone. We'll see if Catchup can find a way to limit that. But as it is, Catchup is up one break in this game.
Yeah, I feel like seeing some umbrellas going up, so I wonder if there's a little bit of rain coming over the fields now.
The forecast did say there should be rain starting at about 2 o'clock. It's now 1:45, so it's just about that time. Hopefully we'll be able to get through this one without any lightning delays.
Why would you say that?
Well, because it's important, because teams need to understand that any lead at any point of the game is important. In other tournaments, you can just hopefully go for that game to 15. Here, the game could end at any time.
Yeah, it definitely could, and we already saw a couple of maybe upsets because a result of the lightning yesterday. One in this pool with deep space, beating Smog 7-6.
Kreintz now with the disc after a great throw from Grechko. Gets it back into the middle of the field to Mesner. Mesner with a nice around break. There we got Moik. Mesner, one of the talismanic players on this team. Gets it over to Brechko. Brechko back to Mesner. Nice solid play from Catchup so far. Brechko swings at the Skitzer. Catchup just content to swing it back and forth. Don't need to force anything, but so far not really getting options out of their cutters. It's all been handler movement at this point. As I say that, Brechko goes deep. And this one is, again, perfectly weighted in the end zone as Catchup keep their lead 4-3.
That's a dime from Brechko. I love that, and Moik as well with the presence of mind to toe it in on that far sideline. Remember watching Brechko playing for the Austria under-17s back in Veenendaal at EYUC in 2017, and just coming away so impressed. And yeah, it's always interesting when you see players at the youth level be standout, be dominant, and seeing whether they can translate it up the age divisions. And here, Brechko, she's got space, just sits this one out there. Moik's got a couple of steps deep, and love that as well. Balletic almost on that far sideline.
I was much closer to the sideline than I thought seeing it live, but yeah, Moik had a really good presence of mind and footwork there to keep that in. So Catchup Mix still up that one break, and they keep their lead 4-3.
Yeah, looking at their results so far, the two losses maybe a little bit deceptive because Smog haven't necessarily put it together internationally as they have in the UK, but we know the quality they possess, and not at full strength for that game against Leftovers yesterday. But here Yeah, they look like you certainly cannot just dismiss them out of hand.
So far, they're holding on to the lead. Disconnection has some time to respond, so now Forster gets things started for the team from Freiburg. Back to Jung. Jung with the scuba break. Over to Caorle. And that disc comes right over to the commentary booth, and Catchup will get a short field to work with.
That is an enormous hand block from Eisenberger. I mean, huge.
So now we're going to see Sven Kleinappel pick up the disc for Freiburg.
Does someone want to check that Euro disc? Make sure that it's not bent out of shape.
Well, Ali Young does check the disc in, but nobody checking to see if there's any tacoing yet. Now a nice shot. There's a wide open receiver for Catchup. Nobody seemed to see Yannick Hildebrandt there for Catchup, and they get another break up 5-3 here against the German champs.
Well, this was not necessarily in the script if you looked at how this game would play out on paper, but game obviously is not played on paper. Huge block from Eisenberger, who was he was committed to getting the block in there, and yeah, looked away from the disc because I think he could tell he was maybe going to get a bit of a clattering. You can't actually quite see it on this sideline. Here we go.
The receiver just left completely wide open on the open side. I think they were trying to do a little bit of a trap around the disc.
Yeah, Turk's poaching underneath a little bit as well, but Kleinappel, unfazed, just bends the disc around.
Hildebrandt happy to collect. So Catchup now really in the driver's seat of this game, as the Austrian champs taking on the German champs. Love to see it here at the European Championships. So 5-3 the score. Catchup mixed in the driver's seat with 2 breaks up against Disconnection. Hole nicely connected, and Forster will take it from the middle of the field. Gets to Shields, who immediately dishes back. Turk with the huck. And that's just easy, nice stuff from the Germans, and they collect another score to make it 5-4.
It's strange that there's times when the offense looks like it has to grind it. There are other times when I think it's when they can get going quickly off the pull, get everything in motion, not really give the defense a chance to set, that they do just get these hucks out into space nice and early. They've got the athleticism downfield to bring it in without a problem, and here you see Shields just using the dish off. Thrower sets his feet, opens up the arm, uncorks it downfield, and it's caught in stride for the score.
So one of my favorite plays there is you have an in-cut with a throw from one handler, and the other handler uses that opportunity to get the dish back and into power position, because oftentimes that defender on that handler is looking to guard the dump space and isn't expecting you to kind of attack forward that way, and they completely utilize that and then get a nice power position and an easy huck for the score. So Freiburg with a good offensive hold, but they're going to have to do something on defense to get some breaks against Catchup. They've been unable to do so. The first Catchup 0 point was quite sloppy, but since then, Catchup's actually looked quite good on offense. Both their D-line and O-line offense, it has to be said. Now they're moving it to Daniel Settina. Been one of the key handlers so far this game. Gets it up to Kniely. Kniely with the hammer swing. Over to Leinart. Leinart with a low pass, but easily but collected by Catchup. Now they're moving with it on the sideline, and a huck goes up to a wide open Nina Panzi, and she's able to collect that. Some pressure underneath, but Panzi gets the score. 6-4 now for Catchup.
I wonder if Disconnection were baiting that a little bit, and I'll tell you what, they took the bait and they took the lunch money as well, because that is a perfectly weighted throw. That is not as easy as they made that look. I do have to stress, because you're getting that right over the teeth of the defense.
Here we see the low grab, first savior that the female matching players do for this Catchup team, and here the second one, as the huck is going to go up. At first she's wide open, but you see there Torben Haag making up some ground, but not able to do it because the throw was just perfectly placed.
Yeah, give a lot of credit there to Jonathan and Breitenthaler, because that, as you mentioned, could not really weight it any better than that.
So 6-4 here. Catchup hold on to their lead. And we'll say Laura Youngworth here with the pull for Catchup Graz.
And that tells you that 4 female, 3 male matching players on this point.
Ollie Young to collect, gets to Forster, centers things. We have another big split stack, but one side is way behind the disc. It looks like they just wanted to isolate Shields in the deep space, but Catchup able to stop that pull play this time. They have learned what Freiburg are trying to do. Forster now with it again in the middle of the field, as a pick is called, I believe. It's really interesting split stack they had there, Benji, where they basically were working within one side of the field. Usually split stacks you cut to the middle of the field from there, but they were just doing stuff on the sideline.
It's clear what the plan was, to try and get a receiver, notably Shields, isolated deep, but Catchup have wised up to that.
And Frey shooting it deep now. And as you say that, Shields is absolutely free deep once again. And the score is now 6-5.
Even if you know it's coming, can you stop it is the question they're asking, and that time they could not. You're so aware that she's going to try and take that deep space, so you you do adjust, you shade, you try and force her towards the disc, but sometimes the fake is just too good. This time it comes from slashing diagonally across the field and then taking off deep. I think maybe you're seeing that shot's not going to come right down the sideline, but with these disconnection throwers, you've always got to be ready.
And that was a break side hook from Ollie Young, who's such a powerful thrower. He's been throwing on the break side at will so far this whole game, but that's the first time he's done a huck off of it. And that is, you're defending Shields downfield, you're trying to guard the open side, but you don't expect that break side huck to come off as well as it did. It is really hard to defend everything against a cutter like Shields there.
You've got to decide, okay, what am I happy giving up? And often, break side deep, you say, that's fine, it's a tough throw. If they can take that on, whatever, more power to them. That time, Disconnection just nailed it.
The Phil Haas pulls, and Catchup collect Sven Kleinoppel. No, lots of pressure there, but Catchup able to collect. Pass is centered and swung, and there's a pick call on the field.
Yeah, Noyes just pointing his opposition back into place.
Disc tap back in. Lienart gets back to Eisenberger. Corner looking for options, and eventually a pick is called again. Some sloppiness here from the stack of Catchup.
Yeah, just players covering each other up temporarily, so their defenders just not able to keep up and get into position.
Swing does come back to Kleinoppel, but another pick is called, or a violation.
He's going to stay with Kleinoppel here, it looks like. I think he's asking maybe for some of his players downfield to come a little bit closer, because now the majority of that stack is set quite a long way away.
There's a pass over to Settina. Settina gets it back over to Lienart. Lienart looking for Settina, but doesn't like it, waves her off. Back to Kleinoppel. Kleinoppel goes deep, but it's not in the right position for Rosa Vuti. Another time that they miss Vuti on the deep shot. Just don't seem to be connecting there with her.
Yeah, I wonder if the better option was actually that the deep cut coming to the other corner from Konrad Eisenberger.
Either way, it will be Freiburg's disc as they get a chance to get one of those breaks back right now. They're down 2 here in this game. And Philip Haas, the old next-gen player, goes for a huck. That's over to Jona Erdmann. But it goes out of bounds, and Erdmann not able to collect that one.
It's not the first time we've seen hucks kind of fade out of that far sideline. It's tricky to nail because, of course, you're conscious of you don't want to make it too bladey and make it really awkward to catch, but also you do need to hold its line long enough to keep it in bounds.
I think there's a bit of a discussion as to where the disc went out of bounds. It looks like he's going to gain quite a lot of field position as Kleinapple walks up to the scoreboard past half field right now. So yeah, Freiburg not able to capitalize on that opportunity for a break, and now giving Catchup less than half field to work with.
Another risk of taking those deep sideline shots.
Setina. That play just read really well, and a run through D from Nico Neuer. Philippas goes to pick up again. Freiburg really wants to capitalize and get a break here. Haas now working. Surveying the field. The round break. That works out for Erdmann. Erdmann now being left alone with the around break and just toes the line. Does Hambrecht.
That is phenomenal field awareness and body control.
Back in the hands of Haas. Neuer, who had the run through D earlier, now with the disc in hand, gets to Erdmann. Erdmann fakes the long shot. Eventually goes upfield to Hambrecht. Hambrecht to Neuer. Can Freiburg get this break? Erdmann. It's very good patience here from Freiburg. They look like they want to move it quickly. When the option's not there, they're not forcing it, and they're very comfortable with the reset game. Erdmann gets back to Neuer. Then an around pass, and it was, I think, D'd twice, but Erdmann still almost came up with it.
Yeah, the foot block initially, and then Catchup knew that they had to follow it up because it was still alive in a dangerous area. Catchup did eventually get the turn, and they're going to use the timeout.
There's a timeout here from Catchup as they try to clean up this hold. We'll take a short break ourselves. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and fund our work
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
And we are back here in this pool play matchup between the Austrian champs Catchup Graz and the German champs Disconnection Freiburg. Catchup up a couple breaks here as they did give an opportunity to Freiburg, but Freiburg wasn't able to capitalize, and now Catchup trying to just clean up their offense, come in after this timeout. Benji, what do you think so far in this game?
Maybe not been to plan for what you saw coming in based on previous results, but Catchup, I'll be honest, I think looked pretty good value for it. Those devastating disconnection deep shots that we're used to haven't been working out as effectively. We can see Rosavuti, I think, just desperately trying to swat some flies away. It's one of the idiosyncrasies of coming to this site, I guess, is the large insect population.
Yeah, this is the third EUCF here in Caorle, and every time we have issues with the flies.
It's just one of those things, I think, when you when you come to a venue in a quite swampy, marshy area.
Kleinhampel with the hammer. Looks like he might have overcooked it, but Eisenberger is able to collect it. Dishes back to Kleinhampel, and he has enough time to collect the disc. Nice inside shot. And Catchup very happy to immediately dish the disc back off once they catch it 4 and under.
I like that. A, you keep the disc moving, reset the stall count, and B, you're giving it to a handler who's already looking downfield, so they're seeing things develop in front of them, and it means that they don't have to stop, turn, and then try and locate where the next pass is. They're already seeing the play develop, and it means that theoretically they should be able to keep the disc moving a lot more quickly.
Jakob Lienhardt taps it back in. Gets it back to Kleinhampel. Pineapple does not look to select from Lienhardt, instead goes to the inside shot, but doesn't connect to Eisenberger. And Freiburg with another chance for a break.
No.
Very important key part of the game right now as Philip Haas comes to collect the disc.
It was there to be caught, and I think Eisenberger will be pretty disappointed that he couldn't bring it in.
Haas with the around break to Erdmann. Erdmann back to Haas. Then we have Welkotter. Haas taking every other disc here, really trying to take over this point for Freiburg. And a nice inside shot from Neuer, and that's the break they need. Philipp Steffen with the goal for Disconnection.
Back level again. Catchup still up one break, but for Disconnection, it's always good when you get your first break on the board, because the longer it goes, sometimes it becomes, there's the mental game of, are we ever going to get a break? Is it going to come? And if you keep at it, once you get it on the board, it does give your D-line that boost. We know that we've done it before. We know that we can do it again. And this time, just that little fake gets the mark over towards the backhand side, and it opens up the space to send that flick into the end zone for Stefan.
You see Philipp Steffen there was open, and I think his defender assumed that the mark was going to get there and block it, but what Nico Neuer did really well there is fake that around, and then because of that, the mark had to really commit to that. Then he came with that inside shot, but the defender from Steffen never came back to protect, and it was a wide open goal.
Yeah, we had, talking with Disconnection before the game, the Benno Kirklo and Nico Neuer had to switch numbers coming into the weekend because, how I want to paraphrase this, Nico Neuer's frame wasn't suitable for the pair of shorts he was initially allocated. He's got very powerful, muscular legs.
That's one way of saying it.
Have you seen them? They're enormous.
Big huck here from Catchup. I think that's going to work out perfectly. We have Philipp Kreil now on the doorstep. Ooh, that's a speculative shot inside and somehow works out and finds the hands of Christoph Schitzer. I don't know if he was the intended receiver or what. However you slice it, it still counts as Catchup go up 7-6.
I'm pretty skeptical that that was not the intended receiver, but hey, if it works, it works. Previously, we played Disconnection for when they weren't seeing things in the end zone. They were keeping it resetting, making sure that they're never too worried about getting into that higher stall counts. But here it feels like Kreil's just kind of focused on the end zone, maybe a bit too long, but on a high stall, does the right thing, just put it out into an area, get a bit of float on it, and see if you can get someone underneath it. And that time, Schitzer answered the call.
So 7-6 the score. Catchup 1 point away from taking half. And Freiburg doing their best to bring this up to Galaxy 7-7.
Game's had been a little bit back and forth, I think. Being level at the moment seems like a fair enough result based on what we've seen so far.
Freiburg again with this side stack. Forster immediately shows it to Turk, and Turk looking for Shields. It's their pull play every single time. I don't know how it works so well, but it does. Oh, no, it does not. Shields not able to collect that one. I thought that was a perfectly weighted disc, and Shields such a great receiver. I just called the score before it happened, Benji.
They set it up perfectly. Got Shields isolated against Pansy. And, yeah, Pansy was left eating dust, trailing Shields, but just somehow snuck through. Maybe the disc a little bit moist here with a bit of rain in the air. Whatever way, didn't stick, and I'm not sure it's how Catchup would have wanted to get a turnover, but they won't mind that it happened.
And here we have Setsina starting. She's been playing a lot of offensive points, so here one of their star handlers here on this D-line. They really want to get this break. It's a really key part of the game. Kleinhoppel, lefty up the line. Got Keneally. Keneally puts it up in the air. Shields is there on the defense, but oh no! It is collected by Yannick Heilbrandt, and that is half for Catchup. They take it 8-6 with a break.
Are we going to have a little dig for not catching the D, or was it just two players got caught too far underneath it and Hildebrand? It's the awareness, it's the hustle to know that there's a chance that even if it's not, you know, that it gets tipped, it gets knocked on, you know, they miss it or whatever. So put yourself in the area and you might get the chance to make a play. Caorle, it is putting the throw, and I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting this, but she saw the option that she liked, opens it up, unwinds and uncorks it. Two players get underneath it. Oh, Shields just get a tiny piece of it.
If you saw there, Hildebrandt was actually cutting in the other direction to the other side of the end zone, but just did really well, saw how floaty that disc was, and completely went there to back up the play. And all the other players just misread it completely, and he was just perfectly positioned to take that score. So 8-6 is right now the Austrians up on the German champions. We're going to take a quick break here, but we'll be back with the second half just after these messages.
Enjoying the show? Show your support for the live stream and the people making the show. Buy a super chat or super sticker on YouTube directly. Select your donation and type your message to the world. And share. All donations go into directly funding new shows. Buy a super sticker or super chat now. Thank you.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Back here for second half action here at EUCF. We've got Disconnection Freiburg, the German champions in green, versus Catchup Graz in white from Graz, Austria, the Austrian champs. Graz up 2 breaks, and they're going to receive to start this half.
This is a time to really assert a position of dominance in this game if they can.
Setina with the disc.
Bit of zone coming out defensively from Disconnection, changing things up a bit.
Setina and Breitenal are getting it to Kleinhampel. Setina now anchoring this offense against this zone. Caorle with a nice leading pass over to Hildebrandt. Hildebrandt's all alone with the blading shot to the side of the end zone. And now what a catch from Catchup, and what a point for the Austrians.
We've seen that they're not afraid to take those spicy shots across the field on, and that time they were rewarded for their endeavor. Maya Ortner bringing it in. It was, I mean, had to be thrown hard because the defender was really closing on it, Arne Gross, but leathered it in there, and Ortner stuck the catch superbly. 9-6 to catch up now. This is, could flip the ball on its head, Ravi.
This was such a nice sequence, the last few passes here. Let's see how much of it we get to see. Look, here's the leading pass. That's a great leading pass. And then no fear. You see Ortner has acres of space, but if he puts that with any more float, it could be any number of defenders there. Just puts that perfectly. A bladey Japanese-style crossfield huck blade from Catchup Graz to make things 9-6.
Yeah, this pool is going to be put in the shaker if this result holds, because 9-6 Catchup, bottom of the pool, leading Disconnection, currently top of the pool. Smog up 7-4 on leftovers as well. leftovers who are undefeated so far, so things are going to get topsy-turvy. How's your three-way timeouts?
Yeah, it's hard to judge with the team at the pool of 6. There could be a 4-way tie in there. You never know. It's all a mess, and only the top 2 of the pool advance.
Yeah,
so
you go straight to semis, the top 2. If you finish 3rd, you don't get a cross against the other pool. That's it. You're into the middle bracket.
So Vincent Caorle there with the pull, and I have to say it was not a great one. Tailed out the sideline, and I think that Freiburg is going to get a very short field to work with, as it looks like they're going to be basically at their attacking brick mark. Ali Young to bring it in. Freiburg in a vertical stack with one isolated handler in front. I think that's Shields. Immediately pop 2 Shields. Lefty pass in there to Turk. Young looks like he was going to maybe try to jump that one in, but decides against it. Also decides against the risky pop to Shields. They're looking to open themselves up a little more. As there, the score finally makes itself happen. After a little bit of sneaky work, we find Forster with the goal.
Yeah, just punching that in right at the front of the end zone. We've seen them go deep, and this time working it underneath, punching it in short.
Has to be said, they didn't really have the option to go deep with the pull that was given to them. You see here things got a little bit messy. I mean, Young, very experienced, knows, okay, let's swing it out of here. This is not what I like. Eventually pops it into the middle, and Forster's just there for the score. That's Henning Nover with the assist. So 9-7, Disconnection staying in this one, but Catchup still has quite a buffer for them. And they're looking to take this upset.
Yeah, the women's brackets are set. As soon as we confirm which games we will be streaming, we will, of course, let you know. But there are some tasty, tasty games in there.
So Haas with the pull for Freiburg. Catchup getting things started. Setina with the disc. Pops it across. Nice overpass to Kleinhampel. Kleinhampel with the big huck. Nover's underneath it with acres of space. There must be a pick call, and there is.
Suspiciously open, as we like to say.
Oh, sorry, that's Breitenthaler with the cut there. A little bit of discussion of where to go back as we put things back into play. Kleinhampel does not. The same cut comes, but Kleinhampel decides to holster it this time. Instead goes to Lienarts. Lienart over to Kleinhampel. Still managing to get that floaty pass into space. Nice leading pass there from Kleinhampel into the end zone, and that's a score. Oh, not just shy of a score, sorry. Oh, what a layup block from Freiburg.
Wow. Wow.
And that's Jochen Velkotter with the well-timed layout block, and Disconnection with a chance to get it back.
That's got a sting for Catchup, because you are right on the doorstep there. It's on the scoring path, and it's only a Herculean-style bid from Velkotter that has prevented you scoring.
See there, it looked wide open when the throw was there. I think they was just, Velkotter was just in the blind spot of where the mark was, so not seen there, but Freiburg with now a chance to break and bring the game within 1 point.
Yeah, that throw is just on the inside rather than the outside shoulder of the receiver, and that creates the window for the bid.
Going to the around break side up to Haas. Haas with a high release break. Philip Steffen with the huck into the end zone. And yes, that is going to work perfectly as Annika Hambrecht is wide open. And Disconnection managed to do it. They bring the game within 1, 9-8. Catchup still in the lead.
Again, it's the female matching players doing work downfield, making those deep cuts for Disconnection, and they always seem to weight these near enough. And that time, you mentioned Hambrecht just streaking away. And for Catchup, they had the disc right there. It was as good as scored, but it just wasn't to be.
I do really like this offensive set here from the Disconnection D-line. Just a great throw there from Philip Steffen. And an equally impressive cut from Annika Hambrecht for the score. So 9-8 the score, only 45 minutes into this 90-minute round. By the way things are going, we'll get to 15 before we get to the time cap.
You would fully expect so, yeah. Four female matching players, which is why we have the female puller for this point, as Catchup get the ball and we're back in play.
So now we see a different set of catch-up players with the offensive line. I think they don't really play O&D lines. They just kind of alternate one side to the other side. By the way it's looked so far this game. That's Felix Mesner with the disc. Going around with a high grab from Keilani. Keilani with a swing across, a lot of miscommunication and some clattering bodies, but Christoph Schitzer does come down with the disc. I think there'll be a combination of calls here, maybe a pick and a foul.
Jungwirth was the player who ended up hitting the ground there for Catchup. Those players engaged in discussion about what the resolution is going to be.
Still not sure what the call exactly is here. The question is this going to be a foul? But it doesn't really affect anything. You can just call play on and goes to Schitzer, but it looks like he's thinking about throwing it back. Question is, are they discussing a pick or a foul or what? Hand signals would be very helpful here. Let's take a look again at this play. You see he kind of clatters into her, and a contested foul and then a pick is the call.
I think whatever happens, this is going to be sent back.
I think the point is that if he accepted the foul, then it would be a reception.
Yeah.
So the pick was going to send it back, but if he accepts the foul, that happens before the pick, so the catch would maybe, the pick wouldn't really affect the play in that case. That was maybe what the discussion was about. But in any case, it's being sent back, which is probably the fair outcome here. So Dario Keilani brings things back into play. As we go back to Schitzer. Schitzer with the high release around break. Over to Kreins. Kreins pops it up to Mesner. Mesner now working it up the field to Ortner. Mesner with it again. Puts the hammer up into the end zone, and that's going to work out for Catchup as they score another goal. 10-8 in the lead are the Austrians.
Yeah, Kreins in the back of the end zone with the reception. It did feel like their offense was getting bogged down a little bit. They weren't having it easy, getting throws on high stall counts to receivers who were relatively well covered. So actually, you know what? Rather than try and piecemeal our way in, let's be a bit more expansive, and using the hammer over the top is a really good option, especially because everything really seems to be clustered quite close towards the disc on that far side of the end zone, and the hammer really opens up that break space.
We're going to see that hammer here from Mesner to Kreins. And that's a really good hammer. It ends up kind of arcing over to that other side. Not an easy throw to make, but Mesner showing why he's one of these top players on this catch-up side. So 10-8 as we're getting closer and closer to the pointy end of the game. You know, Connection have had their breaks and had their break chances, but Catchup so far just holding on to that cushion they've had since the beginning of this game.
Definitely. It's, yeah, Disconnection, 100% have got a lot of work to do here because, you know, they have got breaks. Catchup have made mistakes, but so far, I think you'd probably have to put them as favourites given the position they've got themselves in.
And it's tough because the O-line also feels on the back foot. They don't have space to make their own errors, which can also produce errors of its own for not a mentally tough team.
If it was just the one break, maybe you'd put Disconnection in front. But when it's two and it's this late in the game, it's a tough ask.
Catchup manages to put Freiburg back, but then Young looks for Forster, but he overshoots it, and Catchup Graz with a chance to extend their lead at this point.
Young looks a little bit frustrated, disappointed, I'm not sure. Maybe he thought that the cut was going and maybe it wasn't quite, or whatever it was, clearly not on the same page.
Yeah, it seemed that there was a miscommunication on maybe the cut was about to come back at the moment that he threw it. And then he threw it quite hard, which I think, yeah, either it was too far for the receiver or there was a miscommunication on the cut. But either way, Catchup with a chance now to extend their lead to 3 if they can manage to get this break in. Right now, Freiburg, though, doing a great job of shutting down all the cuts. A blade speculative into the air, but it's come down into Catchup hands. Swung across to Settina. Kleinhampel gets into the middle of the field to Hildebrandt. Disc moving very, very quickly now in the hands of Lienart, who had the amazing grab earlier. Back to Settina. Settina with the backhand pass. Over to Kleinhampel. Kleinhampel with a big hammer. And there we have it, another break for Catchup, but is it coming back on a call?
Maybe a pick? I'm not sure.
Hildebrandt there. It's signaled a goal.
Wow. 11-8 now for Catchup. Another break onto the board. It's what you mentioned. When you're a couple of breaks down, it's late in the game. Your O-line feels the pressure because we don't have any margin for error. And maybe they're shooting a bit too eagerly, just trying to get the point out of the way and get onto playing some D-line. But we're going to see it again on the replay. Just that little backhand toss, really, into the centre for Kleinhampel. And he was really expansive early on and then kind of went back into his locker as the game developed, but saw the opportunity there to hit that hammer towards the far sideline and hit it perfectly in stride.
And it's a shame earlier this point, like right when Catchup was starting that possession, Freiburg really clamped down, and it took a tremendous heroic catch from Jakob Lienart to keep their possession. But after that point, they just moved it quickly and just looked like a very, very strong offense. This D-line Catchup offense has been very, very impressive to me. Sometimes they get stuck a little bit, but once they're in flow, they're incredibly difficult to stop.
So, the women's bracket. On this field, next up, we're going to be streaming Troubles versus Box. And on field 4, we'll have 3SB who've been looking very good against the Disco team that have, maybe been unlucky in a couple of their games so far. And so that game could be closer than perhaps you might have expected coming into the weekend.
Forster getting it over, moving the disc. Now to Shields. It's been such a good target deep, but you see Catchup now backing her, giving her the unders and trying to take away what is more dangerous from her, which is her deep cutting.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. She might still hurt you, but it's not going to be as it's not going to be quite as lethal, that one strike offense.
Frey with a nice inside shot, but it's a run through D from Sophie Brechko again. And Catchup with another chance. Skitcher just puts up the blade immediately, but it's going to be too far.
Yeah, that time maybe, what's the phrase? Less haste, more speed. You can play quickly, but don't necessarily rush things.
But man, what a run through D there from Brechko.
And we've seen what a tough player Shields is to match up against, so huge amount of credit there.
Ollie Young trying to marshal his offense and hope that they can clean things up because they've looked out of sorts so far in the second half.
Elsewhere in the pool, Smog 1 still up on leftovers, 10-6 the latest score.
Forster now with the disc in the middle of the field, surveying her options. Catchup doing a very good job of shutting down all the cuts that Freiburg are trying to use to get their offense moving. Breitenhaller back to Young. You can see a bit more hesitancy coming here from the Freiburg offense, not taking any risky shots, whereas speculative one does go up there. That one caught by Breitenhaler. Sorry, by Nover.
Yeah, brought it down, but it's not the kind of the free in-stride deep shots we saw from them earlier in this game.
Oh, Forster now with the disc. Up the field to Turk. She puts up the big shot to Shields, but it's overshot. And that defense is going to count. I thought the second effort might come Freiburg's way, but Catchup will get the block and the disc.
Heart-in-mouth moment there for both sides. For Disconnection, maybe you had a shot on the disc that you thought was gone, and for Catchup, maybe the D wasn't enough, but in the end, just flutters harmlessly to the turf.
Brechko to start things off for Catchup. A very high around pass, but easily collected there by Keilani. Keilani puts up a Blady huck of his own, and that one's going to be way outside of the path of Vincent Coyle. And this is turning into a bit of a sloppy point here, Benji, late in the game.
Yeah, it is a little bit late on. I think maybe both sides feeling the pinch of the pressure and the intensity of each other.
So Ollie Young one more time. Is this going to be the possession that works? Inside shot to Shields, but a layout block again there from Lena Ortner against Shields. And Catchup are really playing with a lot of intensity here on this defensive point.
And so much intensity, they don't want it to overflow, so they're going to take the timeout to cool themselves down.
And we'll take a timeout ourselves here. We'll be back soon to finish up the second half action between Catchup and Disconnection here at the EUCF. All right, so here we are, the score 11-8. Catchup with disc in hand to get another break here in this game. Austrians against the Germans. Benji, you're in this huddle. You're in the Freiburg huddle. You're down. What are you telling your team right now? This is your O-line on defense.
I'll be honest, I don't think I can repeat what I'd be saying on air. It'd be...
You talk about the tone of what you'd be saying.
It would be colourful. This is... You know, maybe you underestimated the opponent. Maybe things aren't clicking. You need to think back and say, we've shown this tournament and this season how good we can be. Just knuckle down, you know, trust in ourselves, back your teammates, and we'll get there.
Well, we'll see. Sophie Brechko here called that timeout. She's been playing incredibly so far this game. See what she can do with this Catchup D-line offense. Skitcher goes up line. She doesn't like it. She goes to inside shot instead to Keilani. Vincent Coyle now. That's got the... Things now moved over to Moik. Skitcher with a low grab. Again throws the big hammer. There seems to be a lot of receivers in the area, and that one is another goal for Catchup as the hammers just keep going the Austrians' way.
That is a spicy hammer that turns up the dial on the Scoville scale, but clearly Catchup equal and ready for it. Maybe they're just feeling like they've, you know the hot hand fallacy? The idea is when people are on, you just keep letting them do it because it works out. And I think the math shows that that's not entirely how it works. But they're feeling themselves at the moment, and it means that, you know, they're taking on the riskier shots. And because the receivers are playing with confidence and energy as well, and maybe they're feeding off that energy, so they're expecting it a bit earlier, they're ready to bring it down.
I mean, these are D-line shots. These are for breaks. Generally, you can play a little bit riskier for a couple reasons. One is generally, you know, high risk, high reward run a D-line against an O-line tends to work out. The other is that sometimes those O-line players aren't always the ones that are going to win those duels. Those are the more steady players, so you can win those battles against players that are against an opponent's against an O-line. And that's been working out so far. I think they've been a lot riskier on their break opportunities and a lot safer on their O opportunities, and that's been working out for the Austrians.
And that's usually how D-lines play. You give them the license to be more expansive in their style because you back them to get the disc back if they can't do it, if they don't punch it in.
We do see a few changes here to the Freiburg O-line as they've been broken a few times in a row now. Still Forster and Young back out there, but a lot of the receivers have changed up.
Especially when the deep game is such a key part of your offense, you need players with the energy and drive to be able to power through those cuts.
Gross there to Forster, as Freiburg have powered their way through to their attacking brick mark. Nice expansive dump shot over to Young. Young back to Forster as these two players cannot really be stopped, and that's just an incredible offensive point there by Freiburg, as eventually we have Daniel Turk with the score. 12-9, but they're going to have to answer it back on defense now.
That's exactly what they needed, just a good hold where it's not just, okay, the one huck, so you feel like we haven't really, got into rhythm, but it's also not, we really had to grind it out. You just flowed it down the field nicely. You had some leading passes in there. You utilized the swing all the way across the pitch well. That's what gave you that space into the end zone.
This pass, I really think, opened the whole thing up from Forster over to Young. This is that hard, leading pass. You see that the defender's out of position. Young gives it right back, and it's just completely impossible for the Catchup defense to get back in line. 12-9 the score. Again, Freiburg shows that their offense can work occasionally. It hasn't been consistent enough this game, but the question is, can they get the disc back off this Catchup defense?
Their O-line could not turn the disc over at all, and they'd still lose. They need to find ways to generate breaks. They did a lot of match defense in the first half, and in the second half, they tried a little bit of zone, but Catchup seemed pretty adept at dealing with both. So have you got maybe something a little bit different, another trick up your sleeve that will just maybe put Catchup out of their rhythm for a little bit?
Things will start off with Weigel with the pull, as we see Keilani collect it and get it over to Brechko. Brechko back to Keilani. Keilani with an upfield pass to Ortner, but that one is defended by Erdsmann, who has now crossed over to the D-line here for Freiburg.
It's tricky when that cut's coming right towards the sideline because you can't necessarily go at full pace because you'll run out of the side of the pitch. And it's tricky to try and fit it in that tight window.
Arne Gross gets it across over to Weigel. Weigel now to Steffen. There we have Weigel over to Hosbach. Weigel playing extremely important role here for this point. Gross now with it. And gets into space, and Freiburg get the break. 12-10 here, Benji.
Just took advantage of the fact that the defender wasn't quite aware of where the disc was and when it was going up, so by the time they turned to locate it, it's already almost too late for them, and credit to Disconnection for realizing that. That was really smooth, quick D-line offense.
And that's Joanna Erdmann with the double happiness, the bookends, whatever you want to call it, the D and the score there for Freiburg. Here we're going to see the run through D here. That's just running past. That's just athleticism and speed there.
Yeah, the angle, taking the shallower line and getting there first. Probably a shot that really, it's a tough one to complete. Maybe you're better off faking that and trying to find an option more centrally.
And there was Katja Weigel and Arne Gross just doing really good work, giving and going, using that handler movement, eventually opening that up. But eventually they find Joanna Erdmann again for the score. So 12-10, Freiburg getting the first break. They still have quite a way to climb, but that's the first step.
Yep. And as they've got, I think that's their third break of the game. They can get the breaks. Stringing them together is another matter entirely, because you can't necessarily trot your best 7 out there time after time because they will wear down.
Kleinapple back to Settina. Settina with the inside pass to Kleinapple. Gets it back to Vuti. Vuti with the inside shot to Kniely. Kniely goes deep. It's a low shot. And Philippas almost got a hand that I don't think he actually did, but Kleinapple just didn't, I don't think, read that correctly.
I don't think he ever knew it was coming up necessarily.
Yeah.
Because he never turned to really locate the disc, and Haas might have got a fingertip on it, but if he didn't matter.
So Freiburg here with another chance to break as Haas picks it up and walks back to the end zone line. So far nothing opening up downfield, but Haas happy to take the reset. A little low pass, and that one just hits the turf. Squandered opportunity as Catchup now with an easy score there, and they make it 13-10.
They got the turn that they needed, but just a simple throwing error in the end zone. And when you've seen that, you know, you're in the position that you're in, you can't afford to be given those kinds of opportunities. I wonder now if the fact that Disconnection haven't really been that tested deep in the game, are they ready for this kind of test at the moment? And for Catchup, you know, their previous game against Smog, they were receiving on Universe Point and just couldn't grind out the win. Will that experience help them, or will it hurt them?
We will have to see. We only have a couple more points left in this game. Do want to note elsewhere in the tournament, just I'm getting note of some interesting results. MUC is up 11-9 on Ranelagh, who have the win over Kuzb, so that could bring Kuzb back to the winner's side of that pool if that game goes the way it's going right now.
Interesting. Yeah, MUC got absolutely battered by Kuzb this morning, 15-6.
But back to this game, Schitzer with the forehand pull as Freiburg look to try and get a hold back in this game. Forster now with the disc. Finding that inside cut, and Shields going deep. Almost every time it's Turk under to Shields deep, but this time Catchup managed to stop the pull play. Now it's the hands of Rumpoltz. Back to Forster. Shields now with it on the underside. Kirklow, back to Turk. Turk and Forster working really well. Nice handler movement between the two of them. Rumpelt now. Forster, such a steady handler presence in the backfield. There with the upline cut, just giving and going. Really impressive stuff from the 37 shirt of Forster. Eventually finds Turk in the backfield. Turk tries to swing it around, but it is collected by Ollie Jung. They've lost a lot of yards, but they're still in the steady hands of Forster.
And that's the most important for them. You can lose that field position as long as you keep the disc.
Forster there with the pop in for the goal, and Freiburg stay alive, 13-11.
Yeah, first though, just such a rock it seems for this Disconnection side. 25 years old, but already been playing for basically half her life, 12 years, which makes me feel exceptionally old, as well as playing for Disconnection. Also coaches Free Speed Ladies out in Basel as well. So, you know, giving her expertise to players, not just at home, but elsewhere around Europe as well.
Let's see here, that quick movement. She's so quick, she's so powerful with her throw and go moves. That's one thing that's particularly impressed me. And so far, every time she's tried to get open for a dump cut, she's gotten open, no matter what kind of hard handler defense Catchup puts on her. She's just always free. And like you said, steady as a rock. I don't think she's had any turnovers yet this game. It's the exact kind of player you want on an O-line. But again, as I said before, it's not the O-line that's going to win them this game. It's the O-line could lose them the game, but it's their D-line that's going to win them the game here. As right now, Catchup still have a buffer. They're just 2 points away from taking a victory here at the EUCF. And remember, point diff matters here, Benji. We could have some weird ties here in a 6-team pool.
In the other pool games going on at the moment, do not have a score between Deep Space and Gold, but Smog leftovers. Smog just up 2 now, 11-9.
Inside pass over to Hildebrandt. Gets to Setina. I really like these casual high-release breaks that Catchup's been throwing out there. Pineapple with the flick around to Hildebrandt, and that one's going to work out perfectly. 14-11, they're just 1 point away from the victory now.
Again, Ortner was in the area, but not the first time for Catchup. We've seen a couple of players deep discs, and they get the communication sorted nice and early as to who's put a name on it and who's going to bring it down. This time they decide that Hildebrandt's got the bigger body, maybe a slightly better position on it as well. His defender is further away. He'll come through and he'll make the catch. And yeah, 1 point away from the upset victory here that would throw this ball bang wide open again. You love to see it.
Again, here we're going to see, I think we just missed the inside pass that I like so much, but there's another high release and the immediate turn, flick around, blade, break, huck. What else can I say about that? It's just phenomenal stuff.
Can't stop that.
14-11. Freiburg line will take the field for the last time this game. As Brechko looks to pull here for Catchup. This will be Catchup's last pull of the game. And great pull, as it is. Over Ollie Young will collect it. To Forster. Forster to Turk. Shields going deep. Doesn't hit this time. Young. Turk now on the sideline. Shields coming under. Instead gets the inside shot. Shields now popping it over to Rumpelt. Back with Forster, and that's just a little bit of a wayward throw there from Forster, very uncharacteristic as how she's played this whole.
It feels like she was releasing it, realized that it wasn't, her receiver wasn't where she wanted him to be, and then tried to clutch it, couldn't adjust and keep it in her grasp, but a big tip on the mark and collected in deep by Frey to regain possession for Disconnection.
Rumpelt back to now as they try to keep this game alive, but Rumpelt falls over. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, if there was some contact or if it was just a twist of the ankle. Calls for ice. We hope that Rumpelt is okay.
Yeah, I didn't see precisely what happened, but must have maybe got a flailing arm in the face, perhaps. Coming off the field under her power, which is always what you want, which is always a good sign. Maybe, hopefully, just a little bit shaken up, but nothing more serious.
It looks like Joanna Erdmann will come in to replace Rumpelt.
Erdmann's a pretty good player to bring on in a situation like this, having represented Germany in the mixed both at under 24 level out in Perth and also at senior level in Hungary for EUC back in 2019.
A bit of discussion as to where the back in. I think it will stay in the hands of Ollie Young, trying to decide maybe what the stall count is. Young now with the disc. Pass over to Frey. Frey doesn't like the cut from Shields, goes back to Young. Young does go around from Shields, layout bid, but doesn't hit. Forster now with it. Young. Young with the hammer. And that one's caught by Turk. Sorry, that is Henning Nover with the catch.
If it works for Catchup, Disconnection feel that they might try a little bit as well, and it paid off for them. That hammer down the sideline. What I love, by the way, when Pansy didn't get that layout bid, she didn't dwell on it. She didn't, you know, look frustrated. Immediately picked herself up, tried to get back in position and play some defense. But that time, the hammer from Disconnection just too good.
So the score is now 14-12. And Freiburg are going to call a timeout here as they realize they're going to have to get 3 on the trot, breaks on the trot, after that hold.
Yeah, timeout here makes sense to me.
So we'll take a quick break ourselves. We'll be back for the conclusion of this game between Disconnection and Catchup Graz. We're back, Benji. 14-12. Catchup from Graz, 1 point away from the upset. Disconnection Freiburg trying to get themselves back on top of this game. Benji, what do you think of this game so far? What do we expect to see in the conclusion?
Honestly, best game I think I've had the pleasure to call so far this tournament. And Catchup looking good value for it, but after having seen one slip through their fingers against Smog, can they close it out?
Vuti now with the disc. Catchup having a tough time getting open, but it's Setina that eventually gets free on the reset space. Kleinhampel with the disc now, and there's a call on the play.
I think that's the pick.
A little bit of discussion as to what the count is going to come back in on. I think the call is coming back in on 4. Kleinhampel gets the disc. Back to Setina. High release shot back to Kleinhampel. Swinging around in the handler space, but back to Keneally. Nice from Vuti goes up the field to Setina. Kleinhampel gets his mark on the ground and then goes for the bladey shot to the end zone. Is this it for the game? That's the game! Yannick Hildebrandt, such a great target all game, closes it out for Catchup. 15-12, the final score here, Benji.
You could tell in the second half, you know, getting that lead into the second half gave Catchup a lot of energy, and they were being a bit more expansive with some of their shots. Some really exhilarating cross-field blades, both on the forehand and backhand side. Hildebrandt, a frequent target for them, and not adverse to throwing them himself either, and making it work. Catchup have thrown this pool wide, and I mean on a trench wide open.
So they'll do it here. Nice matchup here between two champions of their respective countries. Going into this game, we expected Disconnection to be the favorites, but Catchup showing that they've proven themselves to be a formidable opponent of their own, that the result earlier in the tournament, they erased those, went strong into this game. Like you said, the pool's now wide open. Great game here at the EUCF. So that'll do it. Up next, we have the pre-quarter matchups in the women's division. Benji, do you know which games we have coming up on stream next in this ULTI.TV coverage of the EUCF?
I do indeed. So the next game starts at 3:10 local time, so that is just over 20 minutes time. On this field, we will have Troubles from Poland up against Box from Vienna in Austria, while on the other field, it is Disco Bolo from Bologna, Italy, against 3SB from the Czech Republic. Two more saucy games for you.
Okay, thank you, Benji, and thanks all of you for watching. This has been a great game. Catchup getting the victory 15-12 over Disconnection Freiburg here at the EUCF. We will see you guys in the next game.
Merci beaucoup.
ULTI.TV